Shalom uvracha, hope everybody's doing well. Hachsharas Hashem. So yesterday we learned about Hislahavus, what that means to be a Baal Regesh, to be a person who engages in the service of Hashem, whether in Torah learning or in mitzvos or davening, that it should be with Hislahavus, with emotion, with feeling. And we explained that that experience is not simply in a vacuum. It's not that when we engage in serving God, then we activate our emotions, but rather it's cultivating and developing a perspective on life that sees all of life, like we said in the first video, as an opportunity to grow closer and closer to Hashem, a yearning, a striving, a longing to contact that which is beyond the physical that then becomes embodied in specific acts of Kedusha and of Tahara, of elevation, of holiness, and of connectivity. So today, the Piacezner Rebbe is going to teach us as we turn the page. Again, we're not learning every single point, just trying to select the main points as we move through the sefer. We turn to page Yud Daled in Hachsharas Ha'Avreichim, and the Holy Piacezner Rebbe teaches us about the next level up. Once we've accessed Hislahavus, we need to understand that there's another level called Hislahavus. Some of us may have heard this terminology before, Hislahavus. What does Hislahavus mean? Like the word lahav means like a flickering flame. To be completely inflamed with love for Hashem. What's the difference between an avoda of Hislahavus, regesh, emotion, which already connotes fire, movement, warmth, light, and Hislahavus, which is the next level up? So now the tzaddik is going to speak about this. Even before reading his words, we should remember that these are very high levels. These are high madregos, right? We're not expected to feel, chas v'shalom, to feel bad about ourselves if we've never experienced this before, even though all of us have at one point or another, maybe even very, very rarely, but we've experienced this, as the Rebbe himself points out. But we shouldn't feel, I don't experience this on a daily level. It's a big madrega. These are high levels, but there's no way that we'll ever reach these levels if we don't even know about them. If they're not part of our structure of goals and objectives, the place where we're striving, if we don't know where we're going, we will most certainly never get there. So let's read the words of the tzaddik explaining the distinction between Hislahavus, which we talked about yesterday in the beginning of this video, and Hislahavus. See, he says, he says, for our level, let's try to discover some kind of indication, but that through this indicator we can know is when we've arrived at this experience of Hislahavus, like we said, that comes from the word lahav, to be completely inflamed in ecstasy of dveikus, of attachment to the divine, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the presence of the Shira. Which is the stage above Hislahavus, which again is already a very high level, which we talked about yesterday. So he says, all the while that the emotive experience of connection to Hashem through love and awe, awareness of the presence of Hashem, clarity, hibimida is to such a degree that our entire being is not completely nullified to it, because at the very same time we still are conscious of the fact that, like, we may be hungry if it's the end of a long tefillah, that Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, right, it's a whole day where we go, Rosh Hashanah, many hours of the day, we're still aware that we're people who live in this world and we have this worldly needs. So rak shegam laHashem nafshecha misrageshes, but it's just that there's another part of our soul that's really feeling the avoda, but we're still people who are aware of this worldliness, as rak hisrageshes bilvadi, then it's not Hislahavus yet. Even if there's a large part of our soul that's feeling completely attached to dveikus, to Hashem, if at the same time we're still conscious of our this worldly needs and desires and wants, even hovering over the edges of our consciousness, that's still just Hislahavus. But this is not the case when the hargasha, the feeling, is so nisbara, is so fiery within us, that at least in this moment, if not the whole davening, but at least in this moment, this bracha, this word, this sentence Kala Olam, the whole entire world, Ushifaisav, and all of its strivings and even needs, but certainly wants, Mu'usim Lecha, are just completely irrelevant. V'ach Shuka v'koisef echad lecha, and filling your whole being is only one singular yearning and desire, LaHashem, just for Hashem. L'ktushasai, to melt within His transcendent holiness, ulitayrasai, and to become one with the letters of the Torah that sit at our soul's source, core. That at least in this moment, in other words, all of your other yearnings and wants and desires and consciousness are completely nullified to your soul that's burning for Hashem. And not only this, it's like you can't even handle it. Like it feels, to use the English word, overwhelming. We're overwhelmed by this experience of this fire, this yearning, where it's not even in our minds anymore. Oh, I'm also hungry. No such thing. Completely batal. It's impossible to not feel this way. Even if this is not the way you feel from the beginning of davening to the end of davening, if at the moment that we feel this, it would be impossible to disengage from this feeling and to daven in a cold way, that means on our level we've begun to taste Hislahavus. We should be zoche to feel Hisragshus and Hislahavus. We should be zoche to really strive to take our Jewishness to the next level. Thank you so much for listening.